up abroad in Carolina. But what and those
More restaurants shutting their goods. That's the latest.
have a list about
From the UNC Hussman School of Journalism and Media, connecting Carolina's campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Good afternoon and welcome to Carolina Week. I'm Molly Cummings.
And I'm Gray Hurley. Our top story takes us to the other side of the world. In a typical school year, more than 1,500 UNC students study abroad. Reporter John Bunch
From the UNC
talked to
Hussman School of Journalism and Media,
Gray, this pandemic has forced many UNC students to give dreams studying country. But the student I talked to said she had to find a way to make it happen.
When COVID-19 forced campus to close last spring, many students had to cancel plans and return home. But for Kyra Miles, that was difficult when home was more than 7,000 miles away.
It kind of felt inevitable because it was kind of like people were dropping off like flies, especially the Americans. A lot of people's programs are being canceled left and right. And so I remember me and my friend from UNC were thinking, oh no, UNC's not going to do it, are they? They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. And then we got the message, and it was really devastating.
She was studying abroad in Seoul, South Korea when COVID caused an abrupt end to her spring semester.
It became apparent that this was a worldwide issue, and so in March, then all study abroad programs everywhere were canceled, and we recalled all of those students from abroad.
Miles was just one of hundreds of students who had to return to UNC from a foreign country. Now, she is one of only 4 who was able to return to their exchange countries this semester.
Princess.
She was able to make this long-term dream come true despite the initial trouble.
It was very hard because going to Korea had been something I wanted to do for a long time. I've basically had plans to come here since like middle school, and those plans were finalized like in an academic and like career sense in college.
Although COVID has caused major changes around the globe, it hasn't stopped this Tar Heel from taking on the world.
The Study Abroad office is taking applications for the spring semester. Right now, there are 16 countries you can apply to go to. That's much lower than the usual 70 countries on the list, but many Tar Heels say they're grateful for any opportunity to go abroad. Reporting live in Chapel Hill, Jasmine Bunch, Carolina Week.
UNC's history department has just announced that it will not accept applications to the program next school year. The say decision wasn't easy, but they want to make sure the department has adequate resources taking on new students. And people across the country here are more lost. A Supreme Court Justice Ruth President Clinton in 1990, Ginsburg, woman, the court, activist equality, became known as passionate of gender discrimination and justice. People across the away from with pink. Sarah Haley Carter among pre-law students inspired by Ginsburg.
I mean, she made it so that I can sign a mortgage without a man one day on a house, so that I can have a career and have a child. All of those things directly acting.
Knowing incredible, eloquent, intense, minded person with a lot of those decisions. She's a great deal woman, future in law.
Ginsburg's associate justice for she'll be very cemetery. Being in students on there. Sierra says faculty for the utilities, but they're moving forward.
It's been a challenging year for the Carolina Union Activity Board, widely known as QAB.
Almost all the things that we had to do just had to be canceled because we didn't know what virtual programming looked like. It wasn't a space that anyone on our team was familiar with, and frankly, most people in the industry weren't either. Looking at student programming, I'm sure that there were virtual events before, but it was not something that was common.
After successfully transferring Jubilee, their largest event, over virtually, the organization became more comfortable with continuing to create virtual events for students throughout the fall semester.
QAB is running fully functionally as much as we can. We started because of the pandemic. We did have a share plan there, and the entire fall semester. The started in May, more like June, in their own. Having about the same amount of events, still the same level and same capacity of programming that we would have put out if there wasn't a pandemic going on.
As students are getting into the thick of the semester, QAB's schedule is staying strong as they have many reoccurring and new events coming up every week.
So OBS is going to be our first Coffee House series artist of the year. He is a spoken word poet. So we're also going to have EROT as a collaborating group. So that's a really exciting event that we're doing. I'm really happy to be able to have that because the Coffee House series was originally created to be able to bring different styles of music to campus.
QAB is continuously working to bring together undergraduate and graduate students at UNC with events happening every week, and you too can join in the fun. Reporting from Charlotte, Sierra Sanders, Carolina Week.
You can find event schedules on QAB's Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram.
Getting new following us. The University Commission on History raised a way to names of and family experience. The name of residents in your has been white island
From faculty, alumni, now in the Asian Center. The virtual opening of the Asian American Center started with a panel discussion called "I'm Not a Racist, Am I?" Now the center is working on finding a dedicated home on campus. There's currently a fundraising campaign to raise $5 million over the next 5 years. The goal of the center is to expand with professional development, scholarships, and funding for student-led initiatives.
This is literally like for 200 years in the game. It's crazy to think we're going to carry on legacy student all faculty all through. And so I kind of I've noticed because and all that it's we're that now.
The Asian Center has to, you can find Instagram, Twitter.
Orange County closed at least in April. Elmo's of Carl and Carl on due to 9 years would be 20 and so be
business are Aaron explain.
Where you want among the food building be in develop recent 12 still business money
pandemic. No, Gary. being a I am now.
Broader. The non-black, the black-owned estimates that 5% small business in Durham have closed indefinitely due to the rise of rent and shutdown of most businesses. Terry sits in the kitchen, and she hang on. Midnight.
Golden across the grocery store.
Develop consider the challenge
Business and those.
Terry for free meal.
Michigan lies me that the heart bring change.
Aaron G.
It's all Kennedy.
Volleyball off the tomorrow. It travels to Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech. Last season, the Tar Heels won first against prevailed plays. New member training season. Circumstances of an immediate squad. Danny Green is on the stage and the Lake take on the Nugget in NBA conference. Green has done a good job of cleaning the star on today's game. Green helped in fact before Green offense points and assists, and the team helps spread teammates any day. We're making moves on the grid on this 2020 season. There are 18 Tar Heels in the NFL, but 2 starters for the Chicago Bears stood out in the opening weeks. Not a new name, but perhaps a new chapter of friendly neighborhood slinger. Mitchell Trubisky with an impressive 2-0 start. Trubisky is Bears' 4th quarterback with pass. On the Bears, Quinn is 9 away from Lawrence 3rd sacks. Hasn't been one, especially local Chapel Hill, but even seasons up and student home donors are through.
Sutton and centrally street from game street after Chapel Hill to camp.
No fan in Memorial.
No dog's owner must against
are by far. So not having sports like it once was is definitely a hit to business.
Members of the Chapel Hill community have already stepped up, trying to keep their favorite places open. The news of Sutton's drugstore struggling during these past few months ignited an immediate and strong reaction from former UNC athletes like Bryce Johnson and Theo Pinson, along with hundreds of donors who have sent in funds to the Sutton's GoFundMe page. Sutton's owner Don Penny explains the special relationship between his store and the Tar Heel athletes.
We become friends and we watch them grow up, and and we root for them and cheer for them. A lot of them have stepped up and helped me out. The university needs sports. The community needs sports. We need everybody here to make this downtown area work.
Students, athletes, and local businesses are all eagerly awaiting the day when we can jump around in Kenan Stadium once again. In New York City, I'm Julia Roth reporting.
If you find yourself in the Chapel Hill area, stop by local
Sutton's
businesses
Drugstore
like
and
Sub
Sub
Dogs
Dogs,
and
both
Sutton's
centrally
Drugstore,
located on
or
Franklin
purchase
Street,
gift cards and
depend on
merchandise
revenue
online.
from customers
That's all
watching
for
Tar Heel
sports.
games,
Back to you
flooding
guys.
Franklin Street after a Tar
Empty, and each game on the schedule could be canceled at any minute. While universities and many other states are allowing fans to attend football games at limited capacity, the UNC school system is holding fast to its no attendance policy established at the beginning of the season. UNC Chapel Hill and NC State, however, did announce last week that they would allow parents of players to attend games while adhering to social distancing guidelines. Senior Excellence Perry says going to football games is something that he is really going to miss.
It's a huge bummer, honestly. Like, my first year, my friends and I were super committed, so we would always go to all the games, be the first ones in line to get the t-shirts, and then get in the front row and, like, high-five Ramses when he came up and stuff.
Many students are saying that the university should look for ways to allow students to attend games later in the season. Senior Will Davidson says that he just wants to see one more game-winning touchdown before he graduates.
Well, I did have a thought that maybe, like, they could just let students go and spread us out. Maybe like have designated seats and put a student at each seat, and that way at least like the students could go and cheer on the teams.
Game in person before the season is over. And Roy Cooper did announce yesterday that we may have some good news coming in early October.
Yeah, I hope to at least go to one game. Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching.